This is the premiere episode of the Backside of Broadway.
That's great.
Highlighting the independent, artistic Nashville community. So welcome.
Happy to be here.
Yes,
Paul.
I guess I should do a full welcome, folks, to the first ever episode of the Backside of Broadway, a brainchild that came to me after 17 light beers. So here we go. Welcome to the Backside of Broadway. We have with us our very first guest at the Pete Moss table, B.L. Reed, the Cyber MD himself.
Happy to be here.
Welcome,
Thank you.
welcome to the show.
Howdy.
Yes.
For those of you who speak the language.
For those of you who speak the language, howdy. Thank you for being here. We're here at this table, and we're just going to have a conversation, just kind of hang out. So tell us about yourself, B.L. Reed. What does it stand for? Where are you from? You know, what kind of music you play? What you got for us?
Gotcha. Well, B.L. Reed, it's my name, it's my initials. Stands for Benjamin Luke Reed.
Okay.
Heavily biblical. I come from, I was raised in Birmingham, Alabama, by way of Jackson, Mississippi.
All right.
And I've been in Nashville for 12 years.
Wow.
12 years.
Yeah. And we're currently in Madison, Tennessee.
Currently in Madison, Tennessee.
Yes. And how long have you been in Madison?
I've been in Madison since 2012.
Wow. You've seen it all. The rise and fall of Madison.
Well, you know, Madison's been coming up for a while, is what they say.
Madison's been on the come up since I've been here since 2020. So it's coming somewhere.
It's here, and it's a great.
It will only go up.
It is a great historic place.
It is.
To live.
Yes. Okay, so Nashville by way of Birmingham.
Yeah.
12 years you've been here, and you play what kind of music?
My music is kind of like classic rock and roll, garage rock, rockabilly. You know, there's some southern rock elements in there.
Okay.
It's kind of a conglomerate of those kind of ideas.
Yeah. So you play around town. The way that we met is you started playing at the Underdog in East Nashville on Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. And you had like a 2-hour set that you would play. And that's, originals and covers and all the above. And so you were writing your own music, and that was just the outlet, and it just started to kind of snowball from there.
Right. Well, that was kind of that year at the residency at the Underdog. Supper and Sermon is what it was called.
That's right. The cornbread captain himself.
Yes. That was kind of like my, after, 2020 and everybody's kind of downtime.
Yeah.
I kind of came back out with my own like solo project. I've been a sideman or in other people's bands or in bands of my own for the longest time, and I kind of I wrote a record in quarantine, like many of us probably did.
I did not. I did not.
You missed out.
I did.
You missed out.
I did. It's my fault.
The FOMO is real. But so yeah, that was kind of those Underdog shows were kind of like a reintroducing myself back into Nashville with kind of a new, a new character, if you will, because it kind of is a different angle than what kind of the music I was doing before.
And what were you doing before?
Well, I was playing in a rock band called Fine Lines, which is more of like a straightforward kind of like modern rock situation, but I was more of just like the guitar player in that band. And,
just lead.
Yeah, and then I played in a lot of other people's bands, and I had some music, way back when, maybe 2016, and it was more kind of a sad boy blues kind of thing. I think the example that everybody would probably know the best is probably that Hozier guy. Oh. He was like, it was like this soulful, sad blues situation.
Yeah.
And I was kind of doing that, but in 2020, I was kind of thinking about what life was going to be like when we came out, and I think we all kind of had this idea that like life would be a party again. I don't know if that jury's still out.
Yeah, jury's still out if life is a party.
I'm not sure for partying.
We're doing something.
We're doing something.
I don't know. We are partying. I don't know if it is a party.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. But I wanted to, the angle was kind of like I wanted to do something a little more.
You have a fan?
I kind of wanted.
Do you know him?
I kind of wanted to make something a little bit like that.
Yeah.
loud,
Loud.
loud, lighthearted, fun, just like kind of maybe party rock, if
Party
you
rock?
will. Just something just like that would
Yeah.
be a good time,
And so now you've gone from kind of sad boy rock, that Hozier guy,
Right,
and
right,
now
right.
you are the cornbread captain himself,
Right.
our Lord and Savior B.O. Reed.
I decided to embrace my roots after denying them for, 30 some odd years.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a
It
beautiful
really
thing.
is. It's they say play what you know, and they're not wrong. I mean, it's good to experiment and branch out, but like, kind of where you came from and what you know, whether you hate it or love it, it's what you know.
Yeah. And so what I mean, did you grow up playing? I mean, how did this kind of musical journey, obviously you moved to
Yeah.
Nashville in pursuit of it, as a lot of people have, but where did the original, kind of love of it or skill of it come from?
Well, if we go all the way back, growing up, my family is from like rural Mississippi, and they, anytime we would get together, like at some point in like for Christmas or whatever the holiday was, everybody would, at some point would always pull out instruments, and they were doing more of like old time music, gospel, blues, country. There's some George Strait, there's some hymnals, there's some,
Just a good old Jackson, Mississippi front porch
there's
party.
a whole, they're a little further north. They're in Ackerman, Mississippi, in a blink if you miss it kind of place.
Gotcha.
But I grew up, in a musical family, and then, I picked up the guitar when I was probably in 5th grade. Maybe didn't get serious till maybe 8th grade or so. But then when I was in high school in Birmingham, I joined some friends who were also musicians, and we ended up starting a rock band, and it was kind of like, I always say it was like if the Black Crowes and Guns N' Roses had a baby. So it was like, it had the twang of Southern rock
Okay.
roots, but it had the like pissy attitude of Guns N' Roses, and we were teenagers, so like we were really good at
Yes, there's plenty of angst to go around.
being assholes. And so and then we just started playing bars when we were like 15 years old in Birmingham, and then that's kind of, that's where it all began.
Gotcha. So you had like the family roots kind of growing up around it, and then you just started playing in bars, and then ended up in Nashville from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Had a brief detour to New Orleans for a year.
Okay.
When I was 18, which was a pretty valuable experience, like life-wise and music-wise.
Yeah. I cannot imagine being in New Orleans at 18, but I'm sure that you learned a lot in and around New Orleans.
Well, Paul, we got a song about it on the record. It's called "Right On, Let's Rock."
I was just going to ask about this new record.
It's
Funny
not-
you should bring
it's
that
not
up.
One of the, it's not one of the singles, but it is. It's just a retelling of. There's a few. It's not all stories from New Orleans, but there's a few moments from. It's just a party song about being in New Orleans and acting up.
Okay, so let's talk about this record. It comes out this summer.
June 30th.
I like it. All right.
I can't believe I remembered.
I can't believe it either. I'm glad you did, because I have it written down and it's in the house. So coming out June 30th. That song is on there.
That song is on there.
Okay, and there's going to be some singles that are released later this month, kind of up
Yeah.
to the release date, end of June. And then this was one that you wrote during quarantine?
Yeah. So, the backstory of it all is, the next single, which will be out. I don't know the date, and that's okay.
This month.
It's in
May.
It's in May. Are we in May?
We are in May.
We're in May.
For about the next 2 or 3 weeks.
It's gonna be out in May, and it's called "Year of the Dragon." And I wrote that song as a birthday gift for my partner Sibel, and it was just like it was just supposed to be like a, kind of, it's, if you know Sibel, a traditional love song maybe isn't the right angle. There are some of those too that are good, and I think she likes. But this was one that was like, more so like just like I want to like just build you up, like, and it's kind of biographical. So I wrote that song for her birthday and recorded it. And she was kind of like, yo, what the fuck? Like, why aren't you making music like this?
Yeah.
And she's generally never wrong about anything. So
I've learned that as well.
I mean, you know,
She set up all the camera angles for this,
truly,
so
truly,
she is the glue.
And so, yeah, she was like, you need to, like, this is like, you're really good at this kind of thing, or this kind of music. And I was like, I guess I did grow up playing this kind of music. Maybe I should, listen and give it a try. And so then, like January 2021, right after her birthday, I sat down and I wrote like the whole record in about 2 weeks.
Wow.
Or ish,
Wow. Okay, so how many? What you didn't even tell anybody the name of the album. What is the official name?
The official name of the album is Easy Streets.
Easy Streets. I like that. Easy Streets.
You may have some.
Hello. Another fan.
This is Kitty Girl.
Another fan.
She's also been living in Nashville for 12 years and in Madison for 11.
Yeah. I've got to know Kitty Girl, and she's a hunter. She's fierce.
She likes to be a part of everything.
I don't blame her.
Here we go.
Bye, Kitty Girl. She'll come back. Yeah, she'll come back. Yeah, okay, so Easy Streets coming out, we said June 30th. Singles coming off of this. And then are you going to go potentially out on the road kind of maybe later this summer?
Hopefully so, yeah. I mean, the idea is to obviously get it in front of as many people as possible.
Yeah.
So, firstly, we can't take the cat with us.
Unfortunately.
She doesn't travel well. She's more of a homebody.
That's okay.
But, we'll just leave her until she does this. We knew she would be here.
We knew. You're doing amazing.
Kitty Girl is the executive producer.
She is. She's just monitoring, straw bossing. She's just monitoring.
When we recorded it at my house, I've moved around a little bit since then, but she was always in the room, and we always joked that she was the executive producer of the record. So,
well, I mean, she got the dog to stop barking, so I think that she is number one in my book. All right, so the record's coming out. We've talked about kind of where you came from in the sense of, how you got your musical influence and whatnot. But who are you, I don't want to say copying your game after, but who are you who do you look at for inspiration? Not only just in their playing and their style and their tone, but in their stage presence and their style. I mean, who do you kind of draw inspiration from?
Yeah. I think the whole angle on this new record is kind of like I was saying. It's a rock show. It's a party show. It's should be exciting, high energy. And I think there's kind of in the early this record stays more in the 50s, 60s rock and roll era, but you could track kind of the attitude or the energy of someone like Alice Cooper all the way back to Elvis, or Kitty Girl, or guitar wise Link Wray, early electric rock and roll. I think I'm a terrible music historian. I have some friends that are just encyclopedias of musical knowledge, and but so anyways, the thing I get a lot is I get the Elvis Costello thing a lot.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just the glasses or
might be the glasses.
I mean, he's sweaty, he's high energy. That music was rooted in a traditional rock and roll and kind of took it into a wiry, harebrained, wacky world.
Your shows are very high energy, though. I mean, I'm thinking back on the shows at Wednesday, and it was just 6 o'clock on a Wednesday night, and you were just shredding.
Right. It was the middle of summer, so it was also still daylight.
Yes.
Which was kind of weird. But
yeah, if that's the worst thing you could say about the shows. Then
you couldn't put the suit. I couldn't wear suits because
that is
it
true.
Was too damn hot.
Yeah, that is true.
Hot, which I do prefer though.
You prefer
Swamp
wear a
ass.
suit?
No, just being warm. Swamp ass any day of the week.
Okay, great. I'm sure everyone needed to know that. Everyone needed to know.
If anybody knows me, they already know that. They already know.
Correct. Okay, so Elvis Costello, that's kind of the vibe in the sense of a little quirky, kind of,
right.
This guitar hero type of thing.
Right.
Right. But I mean, again, I've been to these shows and I've seen you play in multiple bands. You can fucking get after it on these strings, man.
Thank you.
I mean, how did that's just kind of happened over time? I mean,
I mean,
or did you copy it after somebody, or?
I mean, my, we all know the greats, and it's like, obviously, like, I grew up playing Hendrix and all
Yeah.
the list that we all know. And anytime anybody asks me, like, who's my guy or who's this, and it's like, I never really know how to answer it, because they all are,
Yeah.
to some degree. And sometimes the things that, like, influence you aren't necessarily, like, someone's playing in particular, but really, I guess, it just came from doing it over and over and over again, for a really long time.
And then you just
Nashville will kick your ass, and you either sink or swim. It can be really intense, but I think it's also really inspiring to be, if you can look at it the right way, it's really inspiring to see really amazing musicians who are better than you. I mean, and I could tell you, I've learned a lot. I've stolen and learned a lot of things from just going to shows and watching my friends play.
Yeah.
And the things that they do.
Yeah.
And I go home and I'm like, how did they do that? And figure it out. Hey, kitty girl. Right in the camera. She knows. She hates technology. She's a Philistine.
She's a purist. She's a purist.
Analog kitty.
Analog kitty. AK for short. AK for short. You're doing amazing, kitty girl. All right, kitty girl interrupted my thought, but we're good. So you steal from other people in Nashville, and I was going to ask too. I mean, living in Nashville that long, obviously you've seen a lot of it. What's your favorite part of Nashville? What's your least favorite part of Nashville?
Man.
Either or.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think my favorite part is just the, like, creative integrity that comes along with everything that everybody's doing. There's something for everybody, and obviously not everything is necessarily something that I like, but it's certainly some of the highest level, like, creativity and playing that anytime you go to a bigger city, it rivals these places like New York and stuff like that. So I think I think that's the best thing about it, is being completely surrounded by it all the time. And I guess you could, double-edged sword, like everything. You could also say that's
the worst part.
The worst part about it too, because sometimes you want, sometimes you just want something a little different. Sometimes,
sure.
I saw this band from Fort Wayne, Indiana, the other day, and they were just some sweaty ass kids, and they were killer musicians. Don't get me wrong, but it was just they were kids, and it was just like all attitude and gusto, and just like, and I guess sometimes I wish for a little bit more of that in Nashville.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that it's not there, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think there is definitely an energy in Nashville that is creative energy. I mean, I'm not a musician, never claimed to be a musician, have zero musical talents, but there is just kind of this thing where you're like, man, I just feel surrounded by this. I want to be a part of it. I want to see it. I want to do something. And it kind of gets on you a little bit. But then the opposite side of that, like you're saying, there is sometimes a pressure to say, man, what have I written a song, or have I played something? Have I done a social media post? Have I, like, gone to see a new show? It's kind of like you get in this thing where it's like, it's not that you can't sit still, but you want to, the energy is infectious to the point of kind of, you're just chasing something, but you don't know exactly what it is sometimes. At least that's me. Anyway.
Sorry.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. So we talked about influences, kind of where you kind of drew from, Elvis Costello, Link Wray, kind of this garage, kind of noisy rock. What did you listen to today? Maybe not currently listen to, but I mean, when you were driving, when you were doing the dishes, what were you listening to?
Well, today, like many of us, I have when I'm not on the road or playing with other people, I got a day job. I manage a cafe, Sky Blue Cafe in Nashville. Check it out. We have Pandora for Business. So I've been working there a long time. It's a great local owned business, and super flexible with my schedule, which is amazing. So we have Pandora for Business. So
yeah.
Part of the thing is that you have to kind of, I've learned how to work the algorithm of Pandora, which is pretty terrible. So you have to kind of like, I don't know, depending on what you want, you sometimes, if you want to listen to like Neil Young, you don't put on Neil Young radio because you might just really get deep into some into folkier territory that maybe you're not really wanting. Maybe you just want the rock and Neil Young stuff, and you gotta kind of you gotta figure it out. So, anyways, today we were listening to Pavement radio. So there was a lot of Dinosaur Jr., Pavement. I think some Wilco came on today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So more like today it's a kind of a brunch joint, so it's a little more chill acoustic.
Right. Well,
Well, I said Wilco. That's not overly acoustic.
Right. Well, it was more of a '90s alternative kind of day.
Gotcha.
It was a '90s alternative kind of day. But then I guess maybe more broadly or in general in the last few weeks or so, I've been listening to a lot more kind of I guess what they would call pub rock.
Okay.
Like I've been really into the 101ers, which is why can't I remember his name right now?
I don't know.
In this moment. I'm gonna start blanking on
Eddie Van Halen.
Eddie Van Halen's first band. No, there it is.
It's not.
The first band thing struck it up. Joe Strummer's band before he was in the Clash.
Got it.
Was this pub rock band called the 101ers, and they didn't really have a long career because he realized that pub rock was dying and decided to go join the Clash instead.
That was probably a good move.
That worked out pretty well for him. And the Clash actually came on that radio station today too. So that's kind of been what I've been listening to the most.
All right,
lately.
got it. And now the final question: where can people find you, find your music, and follow along with you?
Yep, they can find me at b.l.reed.
b.l. space reed, R-E-E-D.
Yeah, well, b.l.reed on Instagram.
Got it.
I think that's the Instagram handle. You know how these things are.
It's the algorithm is
I've been
ridiculous.
I've been trying to get the dots out of my name, but I don't. It's
It's
fine. It is what it is. b.l.reed. But yeah, B.L. Reed music. Same thing on Spotify. b.l.reed. Yeah, I mean that's probably where most people would find me.
Yeah, Instagram, and then you can link in bio, swipe up.
And then I'll have my album release show on June 29th at the Fi Spot with Andrew Leahy and the Homestead and Dustin Sellers. Should be a nice night of rock and roll music.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I actually did not know about this till right now, so I'm very excited.
Yep, I'm glad I remembered to plug that one.
Just a good noisy rock show at the 5 Spot. Baby, let's go. That's exciting. All right, awesome. Thank you, B.L. Reed, Ben Reed, for being here on the Backside of Broadway. We wish you much success, and now we're going to go inside and eat dinner, so we're pretty excited.
Thank you.